As a student surrounded by 1,000 other students, we find ourselves questioning whether I'm going to support my friend or do what is right. And things get more complicated when we hold a certain badge, which I'm going to get to the badge part of it in a little bit. But first, let's address the first part of the video, setting boundaries and morality. The way I view it, there is a fundamental difference between being helpful and acquiescing to unreasonable demands. Picture this. You are the kind of person that people come to when they need help with something or to understand the concept better because you genuinely enjoy extending that helping hand so that others might succeed too. Then over time, the requests that started with, can you help me understand this one concept, start transitioning into, can you send me a certain PDF? But the catch is, the PDF was available online on the internet and can be easily downloaded. In the moment it feels kind of absurd to you how they can't download it for themselves, but you send it to them anyway because it isn't that big of a deal. Then one day they ask you to send a scanned copy of your project that you spent time researching and putting together only because they are too lazy to do some reading for themselves. Or they want you to write the headlines for them or draw the margins for them because they didn't start working on the project in proper time. What do you do? I'm not even being dramatic when I say I've known different kinds of people who fit in all these different categories I've just mentioned. Now if you ask me, I'm going to say I have a certain principle, a motto that I've lived by in all these 15 years of my school life, and that is, I'm ready to help you understand something. I'm ready to provide you with the materials that the teacher gave and clear your doubts. But that's all I'm going to do if it is a project. Because the projects we know are just free marks, 20 or 30 marks. And the way I see it, if something's free, you've got to earn it. Meaning it's not fair if you copy-paste someone else's work that they put all the time into and go home with the marks. You'd be surprised how many people actually do that. At the end of the day, it is about you allowing yourself to partake in something passively that you wouldn't actively do. Now, we had the subject called value education right from class 1 all through class 12, and that is where they teach us all these different values through different stories. What is the point of studying a subject for all these years if all the values that we are supposed to learn from them remain on the page and we don't apply them to our real life? Maybe you'd say I'm being dramatic about something seemingly trivial, but I'd argue that these small practices slowly add up over time to reflect something about you and your morals. If you're okay with that, you go ahead. But for me, I know I'm not okay with aiding in such practices. When you continue to aid in such practices, two things happen. One, you're twisting your own principles, if this ever was one. And two, you're taking away their ability to do something on their own or to handle the consequences of their actions leading up to this event. In fact, let's just take the whole marks and scoring system out of it and consider it from a neutral point of view. If it is your responsibility, if it is your job to do, you've got to do it, and I'm not going to do it for you. Look, it might sound a little aggressive at first, but in case if it is a responsibility that falls squarely on your shoulder, you either do it or you don't, and you learn something from the result either way. I've been shocked to see the number of people who think that it's perfectly fine to not do the work that they've been assigned and have someone else do it because this other person can do it better than them, and so that they can get the results and go home with the marks. It's crazy to think that some students are growing up with a mindset like that and feel no guilt about it. It won't sound as extreme if you think about it this way. School is supposed to be the place that sets us up for our life, right? There are systemic issues for sure. Despite all of that, if school is the place that teaches us our core values, virtues, discipline, sense of responsibility, what's right, what's wrong, what we should or shouldn't do, then situations like the ones I mentioned do indicate a discrepancy, which brings us to our point of today's discussion. Situations like these reflect on both the person that asks and the one that responds? Would I, for the sake of getting my friend through the finish line, support and reinforce their habit of sheer laziness? Or do I draw the line there? You see, not everyone has to be academically oriented, and that's perfectly fine too. What isn't is the tendency to be negligent in one's work. A proper work ethic, having the discipline to fulfill responsibilities can go a long way in setting us up in any career path. The way I like to view education is a medium that teaches us the skills to plan, research, and execute. And that is a framework that we can apply to almost any given situation in our life, either knowingly or unknowingly. So knowing all of that, would you still agree to an unreasonable demand like that? If I knew that someone else was going to take care of my responsibilities, would I still be as dedicated to my duties? Probably not. Because it's comfortable. You don't have to go through the discomfort of trying. Let's tie this back to how friendship works, yes? It's far easier to not support such kinds of practices in the people that aren't necessarily in our closest group of friends versus the ones that are. There are people who would criticize such habits in the ones that aren't in their friend group, but would foster such kinds of practices in their own friends, and that is truly sad. Why would we bend our morals to suit our friends, to suit the needs of the people that are closest to us? That is why I think it's super crucial to establish these boundaries right from the get-go, so that your friends can still trust you to help them when they need it most, but they don't expect you to do their work for them. You see, you don't become a bad friend for wanting it fair and square and for wanting to make them better. Now, earlier in the video, I had mentioned about how holding certain badges can make things a little bit complicated. That is because there's this expectation that you're going to give your friends a bit of leeway that you wouldn't give the others. Therefore, juggling the roles of being a friend and a students' council member gets difficult. I have struggled with it, and I'm not going to say that I have completely beat the temptation of being a little bit lenient with my friends, but I have since gotten better at it, not that I had too many wayward friends to begin with. Such positions give us a specific choice. Do we bend our morals to please the general crowd, or do we bring up the general standards of the group? While the former is easier to achieve, the latter takes painful effort but is not entirely impossible. We can start small, let's say with our friends group, then we move on to the general class, and then we move on and on and on. If there's a way that you can reshape the general everyday practices, the results will start showing slowly over time. And who knows, maybe you'll inspire someone to take up the baton for themselves as well, because you always went the extra mile. And there's always the chance that they will keep up these practices even if you aren't there to remind them every single day. With or without a badge, that to me is a better use of friendships than anything else. School gives us that opportunity, among many other things of course. We'll discuss more on that in this video. See you over there.